What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I hope you're doing well today. Now, some of you that have been around the channel for a hot minute will kind of recognize this track. So this track is what is now the longest Supercross track in all of MX bikes. However, it originally was the longest Supercross track in the entirety of MX Simulator. This is 8 Mile Supercross, originally created by Braden Carter on the MX Simulator side of things, and this has been imported and reworked slash remastered, I guess, in a way, by Fresh into MX bikes. Now, there was a period of time where I wanted to put this in the game myself. However, when you do just a straight up conversion like for like, the scaling is just so far off. The game's like completely different things from each other, and it would have just taken a hell of a lot of work, which I couldn't be bothered to do. So I'm excited that somebody has gone through the effort of doing it themselves. To my knowledge, I think all the wall jumps would have been changed. I think the tables needs doing ever so slightly. And it's just this weird things like the face of the singles as well. It doesn't work well from sim to bikes. So I'm very interested and intrigued to see how good of a job Mr. Fresh has done on this. Now, I'm going to still be rocking the beta today, which I know is a little bit controversial at the moment. It's a little bit of a questioning going on in the community, but we can talk more about that as I try and ride around here. I've got no clue where the start and finish line is, but ideally I just want to do a lap and try and crash as little as possible. That's kind of my goal for this. So without further ado, let's spin some laps. Rightio, so if I was a finish line, where would I be? If I'm looking on the map on the right hand side, the yellow, I guess, marker is all the way down at the bottom here. But I would have thought, so I thought the two massive jumps kind of over my left shoulder here would have been the finish line. But let's just have a little look. So this here apparently is the whole shot. Oh, my lap has just started. So I think this jump right here is the start finish line, to be completely honest. So we are going to go into first person. And yes, I've just gone over it twice. So my lap might not even count because I've just hit this finish line like twice back to back. But we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to try my best to get as many triples and stuff in here. And luckily, because we are riding the beta today, we have all of the power in the world at our disposal to to hopefully get through these rhythms to the best of our ability. And so far, I can tell just from the way you can kind of salvage rhythms and triple and potentially quad your way around the track, Fresh has done a good job straight off rip, because even doing stuff like this wasn't too possible when I tried putting this track into game. It just, again, it didn't work very well at all. It didn't flow nicely, didn't get enough pop on the face of the jumps. The wall jumps were too steep, so you get all sorts of wonky MX bikes physics and make you backflips and all sorts. It was crazy. So whilst we have a lot of time to kill today and we have a long track to ride, I want to talk about this whole beta drama at the moment, if you can call it drama as such. It's just a predicament that we find ourselves in right now. So, long story short, and bear in mind, most of this is just based off of personal preference, but also taking other top-level riders' opinions into account too, and also taking years' worth of racing experience and how tracks tend to erode and deform over time. So, the Beta 450, I think, hands down, there is no question about it, everyone is in agreement, is the fastest 450 bike in the game right now. It's not even close. No, anybody that hops on it, give them a setup as well to begin with, to be fair, they can run a good second or so faster on any Supercross track than they can on the other bikes like the KTM, Husky, Yamaha, etc. So that in itself would entice a lot of the top level riders to want to ride it for that exact reason, because we're at a point now where we've got so many fast people in the field. Qualifying is really, really important, more so now than ever, because good qualifying spot, good gate pick in the heat, good gate pick equals good start equals good race equals good gate pick in the main, good start equals good race, so on and so forth. Using my last round at Tampa, for example, I got the whole shot, which is something that I don't do very often anymore these days. And I think the reason that I won the race at Tampa, sorry for spoilers, is purely because I got the whole shot. So people are very incentivized to ride the beta to get as best a qualifying time as they can do. Now, the issue we have here is, for whatever reason, the beta handles the erode like absolute dog shit. And we don't know why. It's incredibly quick for the first 10 minutes of the race, And the last 10 minutes of the race, you're kind of tiptoeing your way around, having to fight the bike the entire time. Some people, I think now, after Tampa, are questioning if they want to ride the beta anymore, and maybe go back to the Husky, just so they can be more consistent once the road comes in. Maybe sacrifice that first 10 minutes of a race pace to then catch up in the last 10 minutes. So there's going to be a little bit of strategy at play. However, the thing that's got us all talking right now, and I'm not sure if I wholly agree with people's opinions on this. Some people saying they think the reason the road has been so sketchy, especially at Tampa, and I don't mean sketchy as in the ruts are getting deep, because I think we do need deep ruts, even in Supercross. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I mean, just look at Tampa in real life. The track was pretty damn technical for the boys in real life. We need ruts. I don't care about that. The issue that we're having is the random square edge bumps slash holes that are forming on jump faces. And it almost seems to be it's not a gradual build-up. It's not like it kicks you a little bit one lap, then a little bit more next lap, then a little bit more next lap, and then it'll kick you over the bars. It seems to go from 0 to 100, where you'll hit a rut or like jump face fine for lap 1, and then the next lap you come around the track, you get kicked over the bars. And it's kind of like, well, how am I meant to predict that? And the reason a lot of people are fearing that the road is getting worse than usual in terms of the holes is because of the beta and the beta's power, and just a lot of people riding the beta specifically. I don't agree with that. I think that ever since the beta 19 bikes released, so even the edition before these ones that are on right now, the very first beta 19 ones came out, the way the road works changed, and whatever they've done to the tyres is now the culprit of having all of these holes appearing on the track. I just think the beta's power might emphasise that as such. So there's even rumours now, I say rumours, there's talks happening on if we should like ban the beta, for example, and just let everyone ride the other bikes, hopefully not boof the road as much as possible. Ideal world, I would like either an effort from the OEM team or Poso, or a joint effort to make the road not so sketchy on these bikes, because I do believe these problems started when the new bikes were introduced. Even in solo testing, if I put the road on 1 and I land in the same section of track like 5 times in a row, there will be a hole form, like not a nice one either, just like a horrid square edge jaggedy hole, and it's just horrible. So there needs to be something done. It really does. And turning the road down, I don't think helps at all, because it just makes the racing too easy. I do think at a professional level the track should be difficult and force people to mess up. Then also at the same time, I think we need a consistent roughness. A roughness where if you kind of take your time and pick your way around the track, you're rewarded for it, not where it randomly then starts ejecting you over the bars. So that's kind of where we're at right now. A lot of people would probably say, well, that's stupid to go and ban an entire bike from a race series, like what is this? But there was a time way back when, I think it was like beta 15, beta 16 era, where I think it was the TM was banned from the races, because the TM was just disgustingly fast compared to every other bike. So it's not unheard of in the community. And I mean, if any of you are on the Call of Duty scene, you know that Call of Duty is such a poorly balanced game that the professionals GA everything. If you don't know what GAing is, it is gentleman's agreement, where the pros will refuse to use certain guns because they are too powerful. And if somebody wants to go against that GA and run something that they're not allowed to run, then basically their team doesn't get practice like the next week. None of the other teams will practice against them or do scrims as such. I know that's not something we can really replicate in bikes, because you show up and it is what it is, but if the admins deem it worthy to ban the beta, then I guess they're allowed to. So it's just a very interesting area of conversation, and I find it funny that I've been scratching my head for the last 3 weeks, because round 1 I really enjoyed, you know, when everyone was still searching for what bike they liked, and I stayed on the KTM. I came from last through to 3rd. I was really happy with the race overall. I've gone from that to now the last 3 weeks really struggling to even keep any sort of pace with everybody. And now the one round that I ride the beta, I win the race, but I don't feel like it was deserved. And the reason I won is because everybody else messed up so much, because they're all on betas as well in the road, they just couldn't get around the track. Like, nobody deserved to win that race. We call ourselves pros and we couldn't get around the track for shit in the last 10 minutes. We was awful. But, I mean, capitalise on other people's mistakes, I guess. I was just very, very lucky circumstances. So now I'm in a bit of a pickle again. Whereas I was kind of happy to sit on the beta now when everyone was on the beta and try and deal with the rough better than them. However, now it sounds like the other top boys are going to get rid of the beta and go on the Husky side of things, and I don't like the Husky at all. I've tried the Husky multiple times and I just can't vibe with it, even on the same setup that some of the fast boys run. So now I'm in even more of a predicament where do I stick with the beta and hopefully ride faster than those guys do for the first half of the race and then let them catch up in the second half, but hope that I've created enough of a gap? Or do I now do some experimenting again and try a Husky out, for example, and try and get used to that in the same way that I forced myself to get used to the beta in the first place? It's definitely food for thought, and I'd love to hear people's opinions down below over the entire ordeal, first of all, and then what bike you think I should ride. And this is, I'm asking this from like a competitive standpoint as well. Like, I don't want to just rock up on a Suzuki, for example, because whilst it's fun on the casual side of things, unless your name's Aiden, I don't think you're going to be making the Suzuki competitive at all. I just don't see it happening at all. It's such a slow bike in comparison to the others. Same as the Kawi as well. Like, just doing general public races, they're really good bikes, but from the competitive side of things, not so much. Go on, land on top of that. Oh, that was almost so clean. Yeah, not really viable. So my mind right now is torn between trying to stick out the beta a little bit and see if it works in the rough, maybe just try and get used to it a bit more in the rough, see how it handles and try and overcome that badness. Go back to the KTM, which I felt comfortable on originally, but my pace is a good second or so a lap off of the other boys. Or maybe try and learn the Husky, I guess. I mean, I've liked the Husky in the past. Remember my 2022 season was one on a Husky, and I don't think my outdoors one was. I think that was on the KTM. But yeah, maybe force myself to like it in the same way I forced myself to like the beta and see how that goes for a round. But yeah, big questions I'm asking of myself right now. I'm not sure what to do and how to go about doing it. So I am open to all sorts of suggestions. I wanted to give everyone a quick thank you, by the way, if you have made it this far in the video. I really do appreciate it. But thank you for the donator-thon that finished last week. If anybody is confused about how it all went because you can't find it and it looks like the streamers randomly cut themselves off, then you'll notice if you go to my channel and you go to the live section, all of the live streams cut off at 11 hours and 55 minutes. The reason for that is YouTube has a cap. So YouTube streams can only go for 12 hours. For some reason, in this case, they've done 11 hours 55. But if you're watching the stream, and let's say there's 30 minutes left on the clock, but the stream suddenly ends, it's because it hit that YouTube cap. It only takes the first 12 hours. So most of the streams are around 16 hours long, and that means the last 4 hours or so of each stream just are gone from the internet forever. So whenever we do another one again, I imagine it'll be a good few months before we do so. That I'll probably go through the effort of taking down and re-putting up the stream every 12 hours, so it is all documented. But thank you nonetheless. We didn't quite make it to the 80 hours, so there was no sleep stream for you absolute freaks that want to watch me sleep, which I can't say I'm unhappy with. I enjoyed where it ended. It went for a total of 79 hours and 47 minutes. We needed 13 more to do the sleep stream, and it never came to be. The clock didn't keep on ticking, so I don't mind. But yeah, give yourselves all a massive pat on the back. I really do appreciate it. It certainly means a lot as well. And just keep an eye out for whenever the next one may be. It's going to be a while, because I slept for a good 12 hours or so when it was all done. Who would have thought that sitting at your PC staring at the blue lights of your monitor all day would make you tired? Definitely not me. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you've enjoyed this video as well. Thank you very much to Fresh for making this, because I've done one lap. The timing seems to work. The max HUD looks a little bit funky in the middle sector. It's just giving me a bunch of hashtags up there, so I'm not too sure what that's all about. But the track itself has been made well. The jumps work. It's going to take so long for someone to get a one-lap heater, I guess, because it's a hell of a long track to learn. And then thank you, Mr. Boylan Quada, for giving it to us in the first place. Really do appreciate it. And I mean, Braden's killing it on the MX Simulator side of things. And I always like when track creators, well, fast people make tracks as well, because they always seem to ride very, very different from when you get the more casual speed players that make tracks. So I like it. It's very, very good. And to have some of these more out there tracks in MX Bikes is always a good thing. We don't have too many fantasy tracks as such that really push boundaries. And I know this isn't like you're riding up the side of a volcano or anything weird, for example, but it's not realistic in the sense of it's a 9.5 minute long super track, you know. So big W's all around. Again, thank you, Fresh. Thank you all of you. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're all up to, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.